So welcome again. Today we are going to see one more type of joint, knuckle joint. A knuckle joint is again, it's a temporary fastening which can take tensile loads. Knuckle joint may be readily disconnect for adjustment or repair. It has three major parts: single eye, fork end and pin. There are variety of applications of knuckle joint, just like a link of our cycle chain, tie rod joint of roof truss, wall rod joint with eccentric load, pump rod joint, tension link of bridge structure, lever and rod connection of various types. So you can visualize these different applications in the figure shown and a complete assembly drawing of our knuckle joint. Look at the picture. In that you'll find that the knuckle joint is subjected to tensile type of loading, and the figure below shows how it is going to assemble. So basically there are three main parts: single eye, fork end and a pin. So when it assembled together and if it is subjected to tensile type of loading, variety of dimensions that has to be designed can be clear by our simple 2D drawing. In your 2D drawing, you may find that there is a double eye or fork end, single eye and the pin head. So one more knuckle pin collar is also shown here, and a split pin which is going to lock this knuckle pin collar, so that whenever if there is a rotation of such type of knuckle joint, the pin may not fall down. So that is the one more locking device that is also given in the figure. So if you just look at the various dimension, you will find that if you start from this left end, you will find that there is a dimension D, which is the diameter of this rod, which is directly in contact with the force. So there is a fork end, there is a single eye and there is a pin. So what dimensions are there? The major dimensions are D, D1, D2, D3, T, T1 and T2. These are the major dimensions. Now simultaneously we'll take one simple numerical statement, so that actually how this design dimension can be verified or find, that also it is clear. So look at the problem statement. Design a knuckle joint to transmit 150 kilonewton. The design stresses may be taken as 75 megapascal in tension, 60 megapascal in shear and 150 megapascal in compression. From the statement, it is clear that the knuckle joint is subjected to tensile load of 150 kilonewton. It has a safe value, design stress means safe permissible stress of 75 megapascal in tension, 60 megapascal in shear and 150 megapascal in crushing. So this is the given statement. We'll try to give different kinds of stress condition to this knuckle joint, and let us try to design the different parts. Okay, let us go further. Now start with the solid rod which is directly in contact with that force. So look at the figure and how it is going to fail. The solid rod can be failed like this. So when it fail because of the tension, so the area will be the circular one, which is having diameter d. So from this we know that there is a force P of 150 kilonewtons, so 150,000 newtons. Tensile stress sigma T equal to 75 megapascal. Then obviously the area, resisting area, will becomes A is equal to pi by 4 d square. So that is the cross section area of that rod. So it is a tensile failure. So sigma T equal to force divided by area. Force is known to you and the stress value also known. Then let us put that all the values in the equation so that we can get the value of diameter D. So diameter D comes out 50.4. Let us round off to 52 mm for the safer side. So this complete our first design value. So diameter of the rod. Now here this diameter of the rod which is in tension can be found very easily. So let us go further. Now look at this particular picture. You'll find that other dimensions of this knuckle joint can be in terms of D. So one by one we'll take all these dimensions. Now diameter of knuckle pin D1 can be same as that of diameter of the rod. So it comes out 52 mm. Outer diameter of the eye. So outer diameter of the single eye or double eye, that is D2. So it comes out twice of D, 104 mm. Diameter of pin head and the collar, D3. So you can look out all these dimension here also. D2 and D3 you can directly find over here. D1 is also here. So D3 comes out 78 mm. Thickness of single eye, you can see this is T dimension. Single eye can be 1.25 times D, which is equal to 65 mm. Thickness of fork-end, so this is the fork-end, so T1 dimension, which comes out 0.75 times D, so which is equal to 40 mm. Thickness of pin head, which is one more dimension, so which comes out 26 mm. So all these dimensions that we can find by using standard relationship. Now we have got all the dimensions from the standard relationship. Let us check out all these dimensions are safe or not by using different failure equations. Now let us first think about the pin. Knuckle pin is the central pin. Obviously it is failed in shear. So look at the picture, how it is going to fail. So in the figure there is a double shear. You can see the pin is going to shear out. So when the pin is going to shear out, then what is the area? So area is similar to circular cross section which is having D1 diameter. But there is a double shear. Why it is double shear? Because the failure is at the two places. Now what is known? We know that force is equal to, or the given load is 150 kilonewton and shear stress is 60 megapascal. Resisting area is twice of pi by 4 d1 square. Resisting area is here double. Why? Because it is a double shear. Now shear failure tau is equal to P divided by 2 times pi by 4 d1 square. Here in this case already d1 that we know from our standard relationship. We'll put all the values here and we'll try to again find the shear stress. So from the known values we know that the force is 150 kilonewton, which comes out 150,000, and 52 is the standard value that just now we find from the standard relationship. So again we'll get one more times tau. So that tau comes out 35.3 megapascal. But the permissible or safe value or design value is 60 megapascal. You can see at the top, which is given. So that means induced value of that shear stress is less than the safe value. That means our design is safe. So 52, which is the diameter of that pin, is very safe, as shear stress is only 35.3 megapascal, but the capacity to sustain stress is 60 megapascal. So our design is safe. Our dimension D1 is very safe. So by this way, we can get the first failure of knuckle pin in shear and the safe value D1. Okay, let us go further. Let us go for the second failure. The failure of single eye or rod end in tension. So our single rod also get failed because of tension. So just look at the figure. Figure shows that when the single rod is subjected to tension, it get failed like this. So when it get failed, then how much is the resisting area? So let's look at the resisting area. The resistance area is having dimension like this. So internal diameter, which is the pin diameter, which is already we know D1, outer diameter D2, and the thickness of single eye is T. When we take these three dimensions, and what is known to us, that also we have. So we know that the load is 150 kilonewton, tensile stress is 75 megapascal. So from the standard relationship, we also know D2 is equal to 104 mm, D1 is equal to 52 mm, and thickness is 65 mm. From this standard value, let us say that resisting area is D2 minus D1 into T. So you can look at the figure, and from the figure we can find the value of that resisting area. Here it is a simple two rectangular area. So resisting area is D2 multiplied by T minus D1 multiplied by T. So subtraction of two rectangles, we can get the effective resisting area. Now it is a tensile failure, so force divided by area. Sigma T is equal to force divided by D2 minus D1 into T. We know from the standard values, so let us put again those values to find sigma T. So known values are 104 and 52 and 65 for D2, D1 and T. So that gives us one more times sigma T. So sigma T comes out 44.44 megapascal. That means here by considering our standard values, which is D2 equal to 104, D1 equal to 52 and T thickness is 65 mm, we got 44.44 megapascal as induced stress. But the capacity of that particular material given is 75 megapascal, which is very more than our stress value. So that means here we can say that our single eye is safe for the standard values, as the induced stress is 44 megapascal and the safe stress is 75 megapascal. So that comes out one more consideration, that is consideration of single eye in tension. Let us go further. If the single eye is under the shear, what will happen to the single eye? Let us see. Now look at that particular figure and video. In that, the failure of single eye in shear is shown. What is the difference between our tensile failure and shear failure is very simple. In our tensile failure, the resisting area is perpendicular to the 4, whereas in our shearing failure, the resisting area is almost parallel to the applied force. So that comes out a failure of single eye in shearing. So the area will be same. The area will be same. It is a two rectangles which is having d2 minus d1 into t. So again, we know that force is equal to 150 kilonewton. Only thing is that it is a shear failure. So tau is equal to 60 megapascal. Resisting area is same, d2 minus d1 into t. Shear failure equal to tau divided by, so tau equal to p divided by area. Area comes out d2 minus d1 into t. Now here also, if you just put all the known values, then again we can get the shear stress which is induced. Because of our known standard dimension, the value of shear stress again we can find. That value of shear stress comes out 44.44 megapascal. Why it is same? Because if you just look at the single eye rod in tension, same resisting area happens with single rod in shear. That's why the induced stress will be same. But again, look at whether that induced stress, which is shear stress, is less or more than the safe value. Yes, the safe value is 60 megapascal. That means the material can sustain 60 megapascal, but our induced stress is only 44 megapascal, which is less than 60 megapascal. That means whatever dimensions we got from the standard relationship are safe under single eye shear failure. So that comes out our failure of single eye in shear. So let us go further. The single eye may get fail in crushing also. So how the crushing failure is there? So that is going to understand by using our simple figure as shown. So look at the figure. In that, there is a crushing area shown. The crushing area, when the knuckle pin is inside that single eye, that area which comes out is a rectangle which is having thickness t and diameter, which is inside diameter of single eye, d1. So here in the figure, that failure area is shown, which comes out a hatching d1 multiplied by t. So again, we know that the force is 150 kilonewton, crushing stress. Now it is a crushing failure, so it comes out crushing stress 150 megapascal. d1 is 52 mm, t is 65 mm. So resisting area is a simple rectangle. So again and again you can look at that particular picture, and it is clear that the resisting area is only a rectangle which is d1 into t. So crushing failure is there. So crushing stress is equal to force divided by area. The resisting area is here d1 into t. So if the crushing resisting area is d1 into t, and we know the value of d1 and t from the standard relationship, we can find the value of crushing stress from the known values, and it comes out again 44.44 megapascal. So when it comes out 44.44 megapascal, let us check whether it is less than the given safe value. Yes, it is less. It is very less. So again we say that whatever given dimensions are there, those dimensions are very safe for consideration of crushing failure of single eye. So 44.44 megapascal induced stress is less than the safe value of stress, which is 150 megapascal. That means the given dimensions are also verified under crushing. Let us go further. The next component is our fork end or double I. So when we think about the failure of fork end in tension, again similar kind of failure you can find, tension, failure of fork end. Just look at the figure here. In that you will find the fork end is going to fail under tension. So again see the area. Now the area will be double. So it is twice. So thickness is T1, internal diameter D1, outer diameter D2. So we know that again the force is 150 kilonewton, tensile failure. So tensile stress is, safe tensile stress is 75 megapascal. We know the value of D2, D1 and T1 from the standard relationship. The resisting area is 2 into D2 minus D1 into T1. So it is the resisting area. The tensile failure is equal to force divided by this resisting area. So let us again find sigma T tensile stress by the known values. So it comes out 150 kilonewton divided by 2 into 104 minus 52 into 40. So which comes out 36 megapascal. So this 36 megapascal induced stress is less than the 75 megapascal, which is the safest value that can sustain by that fork end. So that means again whatever standard dimension that we find from the for this fork end is also safe. So our design is safe under tension. So let us go for fork end under one more type of stress. So the failure of fork end under shear. So if you just look at that failure, you will find that the failure under shear is again similar to the failure of single I. Only thing is that here there is a double type of failure. So look at that again area. Area will be same as that of tensile failure, as same circular type of cylinder is cut in two sections. So area will be same. So we know that the force and stress, as it is a shear stress, 60 megapascal is the safest value of stress. D2, D1 and T1 we know. Resisting area is 2 times D2 minus D1 into T1. Shear failure is equal to force divided by 2 into D2 minus D1 into T1. So again find one more times by the known values. So again if you find the shear stress is equal to, put the value of P, D2, D1 and T1 and we'll get the T which is equal to tau, which is equal to 36 megapascal. Now the shear stress tau 36 megapascal which comes out is less than the safe value. That means again we can say that for fork end under shear, whatever values, standard values we have taken, they are very safe, as induced stress is just 36 megapascal, but the safest tau shear stress is 60 megapascal can sustain by the material. So again from this step we say that our design values are very safe. Now let us think about one more type of failure. So failure of fork end in crushing. So again, as we have discussed in our single I, the crushing is subjected to a simple square type of cross section as a resisting area. So here it is a again twice area which is D1 into T1. So obviously there is a crushing in both single I under the fork end. So we know that the load is same, crushing stress safest value is 150 megapascal. We know D1 and T1, so resisting area is twice D1 into T1. Crushing failure is equal to P divided by 2 into D1 into T1. So again find that crushing stress. So it becomes twice 52 into 40. So it comes out 36 megapascal. Design is safe here as the value 36 megapascal is very, very less than 150 megapascal. So from this way, here we have checked all the different kinds of failures which is applied on this knuckle joint. So whatever standard dimensions we put here together, all dimensions are safe. No induced stress, neither our tensile, shear or crushing can fail our pin, single eye and fork-end. So all are safe. So that completes our problem of knuckle joint. And here we understand all the different kinds of failure in our single rod or in our single eye, fork-end and pin. So this completes our knuckle joint numerical. It can be asked for 8 marks also. So let us end this particular knuckle joint problem.